Good morning, conference. It's a bit like a driving test. I'm glad I'm doing it first thing. So what can I tell you about Rotaract? What can I actually tell you that you probably haven't already heard? Number one, it's a Rotary-sponsored program for young adults aged 18 to 30 years of age. It started in 1968, 46 years ago, making it one of Rotary's oldest programs to date. And the name Rotaract comes from Rotary in Action. But you probably already know all of that. So what else can I tell you that shows you what Rotaract is? Please relax in your seats a little bit while I just quickly tell you my story and what got me into Rotaract. So my first meeting was in March 2010. My first meeting was actually meant to be in February 2010, but to give you some context of the type of person I was back then, I was actually so nervous that I drove off from the venue and didn't even go into my first meeting. So that kind of represents the type of person I was back then. Incredibly shy and not much confidence. So a bit more of my background prior to that. 7 years before that, I actually lived in Burma as a naive 16-year-old. And I only lasted there 1 month, but it introduced me to the bigger world and a lot of issues in the world, and it made me realize that in this world, I knew I wanted to do good in it. But in 2010, I didn't know the Rotaract was going to be that answer. In 2011, I became the club president of Leamington and Warwick Rotaract. And I then found out within a couple of months about a global Rotaract event that happened every 3 years. This was called Inter-Rota, and it was like the Rotaract World Cup, I call it. It's like your convention which you have every year. Luckily for me, there was one in 2011, and it was in Egypt. So after asking the district, I was incredibly lucky. 2 of us were incredibly lucky and grateful to be sent. Albeit 2 days into being in Egypt, the second revolution kicked off. Again, this was an experience in itself and taught me a lot about the bigger world and got me interested in wider issues. Within the club year, we also supported a Burmese charitable organisation, and that was me starting to use Rotary to find my way to do good in the world. What was quite a useful thing very early on in that year was that it wasn't even our sponsoring Rotary club, but a Rotary club made me an honorary Rotarian. It was a local club, but that really introduced me to Rotary. And it took a year of being in Rotaract before I actually really made the connection between Rotaract and Rotary. Now I don't see them as 2 separate organisations. It is one to me. So very early on I felt quite loved by Rotary, and that's what made me want to find out more. 2012, I was asked to help a couple of pictures from Egypt, as you can see. In 2012, I was asked to help in Bangkok at a Rotary convention, and this time I went begging to my district to see if they would send me again. And I was incredibly lucky that they paid for me to go halfway and introduced me to Southeast Asia again. And luckily my mom lived in Cambodia, so I went and saw her as well. Saw 2 fantastic countries and got to know. I went to a Rotary Club meeting in Cambodia as well whilst I was there. So all of this was coming together to tell me how serious an organisation Rotary was, and the massive pulling power that it has. I think if you send any young person to convention, they will come back inspired. Since I've also, a couple of pictures from the club and Bangkok as well. The top middle photo was just after the floods in Bangkok as well, so we were helping out rebuild a school. Since I've been to convention, I've also been sent to Lisbon, and 14 months ago I joined the Secretariat as a member of staff as well. So I've now truly ingrained myself in Rotary. And 2 weeks ago I also became a provisional Rotary member. So Rotaractors do join Rotary as also. I didn't expect what I got out of a family of Rotary so early on, and I'm absolutely sure that Nan will agree with me in saying that Rotaract really does develop leadership skills in young professionals. My story is one of many, so I ask you to keep giving other Rotaractors plenty of opportunities too. I've seen many young people develop in the course of the last 3 years that I've been involved in it, 4 years that I've been involved in it. So that's a bit of my background, but where are we now? We have around 60 clubs, effectively making us your 30th district, if you like, or however you want to look at it. Around 700 members approximately, and 19 of the districts have at least one club. Some of the districts have 6 or 7. That's not bad going, really. But if we start to look at the numbers and compare them a little bit, and we can see the ratio on a UK to global level, we're slightly behind in the UK, but it is an improving position, and the support is coming, which we're incredibly grateful for. But that gives you some context of just where we are here and where we are in the rest of the world. And I would say the way the Rotaract works in the rest of the world, you can really see them coming into Rotary clubs, and I think we can do the same here. I'm absolutely confident we can. I think something that can help us along this way is Interact. We've got massive growth in Interact at the moment, but we're not empowering them to start Rotaract clubs. And maybe we should think about that and inviting them to join Rotaract clubs also. We've got RILA participants who are within Rotaract age bracket. A small fraction seem to actually join Rotaract, and I hope that we can encourage them to do more of this. And the same goes for Rotary Youth Exchange as well. I think between those 3 programs, and you've got many others as well, but those 3, we already have ready-made Rotaractors. In the last 12 months, we've held the Rotaract conference. This is the first time we've had it in 4 years, and I think represents that we're in an improving position at the moment. Here's some pictures from there. You might recognise 1 or 2 people. There's Nan, with Sophie and Marion, who are both here today, who organised the London conference, the national conference in London. And Eve snuck in the bottom left as well. So a very successful event for us, and we're hoping now that we can go on and use that as a kickstart for us, and hold another one very soon. Also, we've now developed a new website and launched it to try and help the public understand what Rotaract is. And you'll also notice in the bottom right is the Rotary logo, so we're trying to really make that connection that they are one of the same. It is a Rotary program, and we're proud of that connection. As I mentioned before, we don't see ourselves as 2 separate organisations. We just don't sometimes always understand what Rotary is. So if we can keep showing that, that's great. This is a great resource for the public to come and visit and find out more about Rotaract. So yeah, and also for Rotarians as well, if you do need to find out more. Coming up in September, 4th to 7th September, we're holding, last year was the first ever Rotaract Model United Nations, and London was successful in bidding for a second one. So we're holding that, and Nan McCready is supporting it amongst many other people. I'll just give you a moment to sort of pick out the key things of what Nan said there. But yeah, look out for that. It'll be a very successful event, I'm absolutely sure about. Lots of opportunities for Interact clubs to get involved and Rotary to support this event. And I know District 1130 in London will support that as well. And I'm sure it'll be a great success, so look out for that. Something away from RGBI a little bit is I'm going on to join Rotary, and I'm already a provisional member. And within the E-Club that I'm a part of, they have the Rotaract Club Hub. They're trying to kickstart for developing an online hub for young people who might not be able to get to a meeting every week, or in Rotaract it's every 2 weeks anyway. So this is another interesting idea which we want to try and run in partnership with Rotary, and we'll see where it goes. But especially for those 10 districts where there is no coverage. It can sometimes be hard to kickstart, so we're hoping an online base will help that. They've already been going for a year, and they've held an online International Peace Day, which got global participation as well. So, a minute left, I'm doing well, that's okay. So, visit us in Stand 1 in Rotary Showcase. Let me just remind you, Rotary does develop young leaders. I've seen it do it with myself, and I'm proud of what it's done for me, and I'm so grateful. But I've also seen it with so many other Rotaractors as well. And that for me makes a difference, seeing how it empowers other people. I don't want other people not to have that opportunity, so I really hope that Rotaract continues in that vein. It is growing in number, and it is growing in support. We held our Rotaract handover with our IBI handover last year, and that just shows how Rotary's really getting behind this as well now, especially Nan, and I know Peter King as well will be equally supportive because he's already said so. What I've found with my generation is that young adults actually really do want to serve. They just don't necessarily see Rotary as their way to serve, so I want to make sure that they do know that. So yeah, Rotaract is an opportunity to do so many different things. So I ask you, if you don't already sponsor Rotaract Club, please do. And you can visit the website for more information, visit Stand 1, and come talk to more of us. Just quickly, before I end, because I'm up with time, could the Rotaractors in the room stand up? I don't know where they are. If you can... We have about 20 Rotaractors here this weekend, which is a pretty good turnout, so do grab any of those people that stood up around you. And thank you very much. I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference, and I'll be working now.
Whoa! Black line. Thanks, James. Thanks, Ray. It's a memento.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Back to work.
Yeah.